Welcome to the Chef's Kitchen. I'm your host, Nicole Gaffney, and we're here today with Chef Michael Heaps of Harry's Hospitality Group. Welcome.
Thank you.
What are we making today? I think the answer is quite obvious.
Yeah, so today we're going to be taking our signature ribeye.
It's a gorgeous hunk of meat. So let's get started cooking.
Excellent. So like I said, this was our signature item, and what we decided to do was take our signature prime rib and use that for our signature steak, which is our 45-day aged ribeye.
Wow. So you do all of the butchering in-house here?
Absolutely.
That's awesome. So what are you doing right now? You're taking the bones off?
So right now we're going to take the bones off.
Okay. So this is going to be a boneless ribeye?
Yes.
Nice. And how big of portions are you going to cut these into?
So on our menu we have it as an 18-ounce portion.
That's big, especially being boneless.
It is. But once you get in there and start cooking it down, it's not that big.
Okay. So what do you do with all of these bones? Clearly they're not going to go to waste.
No, not at all. So we take these off, we'll roast these off, and then we'll use them in stocks.
Nice.
And that turns into our au jus for the prime rib.
So really everything's being used here, everything's from scratch.
We don't throw anything
That's
away.
awesome. Yeah, you've been doing it that way for 30 years.
Absolutely. So now we're going to take, we got this excess fat cap on here, so we're going to take some of that off.
How do you know there's enough fat and not too much fat? Because everyone always says fat is flavor when it comes to steak especially.
It is definitely flavor.
However, that's a lot that you just
this
took
is a
off.
lot. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to keep
sure.
any of this. So what we're going to do is just kind of trim it off. I like to keep about 1/4 of an inch around the outside.
So a good bit still.
Because you got to remember, on the inside, you still have a good amount of fat as well.
Now, do you use the leftover fat for anything?
Typically, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we got it trimmed out, all the bones are gone. We're going to go ahead and start cutting our steak. And then we've got two different ends to this. So we have the loin end, which, as you can see, not a whole lot of fat, but still good marbling. This is more of a tender end.
Okay.
And then we have the chuck end, which is going to be on this side.
Major
and as you can
marbling.
See, there's much more marbling.
Big time.
It's going to be a little bit tougher.
Okay.
But more flavor.
Sure. So where do we go? Do we go right in the middle?
We're going to actually start at one end and work our way to the other.
Okay, perfect. Do you have a preference of which cut you like better?
Absolutely. The chuck end.
Yeah.
I mean, fat, flavor, it's delicious.
It's all about the flavor for sure.
And because we age our meat for a minimum of 45 days, usually it's probably closer to about 60.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And what that does is it breaks down, and makes it more tender piece of meat.
Okay.
So even though this might be from the chuck side and it's typically more, it's more tough, this is actually going to be pretty tender because of that aging.
Awesome. And you do all of the dry aging here in-house?
No, we don't.
Okay.
We don't have a
that's
dry aging
intense.
room, unfortunately. I would love one.
Maybe someday.
I'll put that on the Christmas list.
Well, this really does have beautiful marbling.
Yep.
And all of that fat's going to melt.
Trim some of this fat cap off.
A little too much excess there.
Just to make them beautiful.
Nice. How many of these do you serve in a day typically?
Countless.
Too many to count?
I have no idea.
They must be that good then.
Yeah, this is our most popular selling steak.
Really?
For sure.
Wow. Yep. These are really nice, thick pieces of steak too. I mean, how long do these take to cook?
I don't know, about 10 minutes.
Oh wow, that's.
Yeah,
I guess
10
if you're
to
going
12
for that
minutes,
nice
depending,
medium rare.
Yeah, depending on what you're looking for.
Okay. And these are cut fresh to order every day.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to cooking.
Fantastic. So now that we got the steaks cut, I'm going to go ahead and start our potatoes.
Great.
So some fingerling potatoes.
My favorite kind of potatoes.
Oh, good.
Yeah, love them. They're so cute, you know?
They are. So we're just going to cut these in half.
Okay.
It's going to shorten the cooking time, and
Great.
we'll be able to get more color on the surface.
Perfect. How do you like to cook these?
So I like to pan-sear them and then pop them in the oven to finish roasting.
So they get nice and crispy.
Yeah. And then at the end, we're going to finish with some salt and pepper and some fresh herbs.
Perfect. So you don't salt and pepper them before they go in the oven?
No, I tend to season them after they come out because when you're sauteing them in the oil, it tends to kind of like take away some of that salt.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
So I like to season them at the end, kind of like French fries coming out of a fryer. You know,
Totally makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just gonna saute them in a little bit of olive oil.
All right.
Stay tuned for more when we return to the chef's kitchen. We now return to the chef's kitchen.
So once we get that hot, we're just going to put these in,
Okay.
and I like to try to put them the flat side down.
All right, that helps them get nice and crispy.
Yeah, especially on that bottom part.
Sure. Now, do these typically come served with the ribeye steak, or do customers get their choice of sides?
We give you a choice of sides.
Okay, like a traditional steakhouse.
Absolutely.
That's nice.
Come in, order what you'd like, and we'll take care of you.
Perfect. It's all about what the people want. What do you sell more of, prime rib or your steaks?
Prime rib by
Yeah,
far. Yeah, I
that's
mean,
the
people have
big
been,
one.
yeah, they've been coming here for, like I said, 30 years for
Yeah,
that prime rib.
you guys are really, really known for that.
And there's not many people that do it anymore.
Yeah,
so,
it's true. It's
yeah.
really kind of like a lost art.
It kind of
Yeah.
is. And fortunately, like I said, because we've been doing it for so long, we have it really dialed in.
Right, so you guys, there's no turning back now. You have to keep doing the prime rib.
I think people would revolt.
You'd be kicked out of Delaware.
So now that we got these cooking in here, and we're just going to let them go to get a little bit of color, and then we'll kind of toss it and then finish it off in the oven.
Perfect. So you're going to put that pan right into the oven?
Absolutely.
Nice. That makes it way easier cleanup.
So now that we got them sautéed,
Oh, nice.
we got that beautiful golden brown color on there.
I can already taste the crunch.
There you go. Now from here, we're going to throw them in the oven.
All right.
And so we'll let them finish cooking.
Perfect. About how long will they take in the oven?
Maybe around 6 minutes or so.
Okay, so
they
really
don't take that
quick.
long.
Great.
Because we cut them in half, it really shortens the cooking time.
Perfect.
So while they're in the oven cooking, we're going to go ahead and start our compound butter.
Perfect.
So we're going to make a bacon bourbon butter.
Oh,
and
wow.
For the bourbon, we have this Buffalo Trace.
Okay.
All right, and this is a hand-picked barrel. One of our bartenders goes down to Kentucky,
Nice.
tastes through it, and picks out the barrel. They finish aging it for us,
Wow.
bottle it, and then send it back to us.
That's so cool.
And this is a fantastic bourbon.
Wow.
So because we're doing this in a butter, we want to kind of cook off the alcohol. So we'll let this come up in temperature.
We're going to light it on fire?
Yes.
Very
so we'll let
nice.
the alcohol cook off, but we don't want to reduce it too much.
Okay.
Otherwise, you might get some bitter flavors out of it.
All
so
right.
we just kind of want to get rid of the alcohol.
Okay. Look at that. So fun. It's always really fun when we can set things on fire here.
That's one of the reasons I decided to start working in the kitchen.
I love that. I better walk away. I'm going to burn my eyelashes off.
Yeah, we don't want that. So while that's kind of burning off there, we're going to go ahead and start making the butter.
Great. And that's a lot of butter we have.
Yeah, so we're going to use about 1.5 pounds of butter.
Okay, just
and
a
this will
little
be
bit.
for a lot of steaks essentially.
Sure.
We're only going to put a small portion on this.
I mean, you're eating a steak. You might as well just go for it, you know?
I know, right?
Just have the bacon bourbon butter.
So we actually created this. We do a bourbon dinner every year, and last year we did our signature steak, the ribeye, and I actually smoked it with some cherry wood.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Oh, I bet that had such nice flavor.
And then we topped it with this bacon bourbon butter. So I created this butter for this particular event.
And that was paired with different bourbons?
It was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we had a whole flight of bourbons. I think we had 4 very high-end bourbons that were paired with it.
I hope everyone had a designated driver on the way home from that.
Yeah, I'm sure they did. But no, so we created this butter specifically for this dinner. It was such a big hit that we decided to put on our menu.
That's awesome.
And it's one of our #1 steak toppings.
Really? So when people order a steak, they get to choose their sides, and they also get to choose what goes on top of it? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
So we have all our steaks on the menu, and then each steak you can get like sauteed mushrooms, sauteed onions. We've got peppercorn sauce and au poivre. And regular demi-glace, or we have a couple different butters you can choose from.
Cool. So a lot of your steakhouse classics, but then
Absolutely.
some unique twists as well.
Absolutely. Some things that are unique to Harry's.
Awesome.
So while this is whipping, and it's going to make it lighter, fluffier, it's getting air in there.
Okay.
We're going to take our bacon fat.
Oh,
So
wow.
what I did earlier, what you didn't see, was we cooked off some bacon and then chopped it up. And then I strained off the bacon fat. So we're going to use that bacon fat in with this butter.
Nothing goes to waste here.
Nothing at all.
Wow.
Anyways, so we're going to take our bacon fat. We're going to saute this or get it hot. So once we get our bacon fat hot, We're going to add some garlic
Okay.
and shallots.
Wow, so a lot of flavor happening in here.
Oh, yeah. We're going to sweat them down.
It smells good already. I mean, the second the garlic and the shallots hit the hot bacon fat, ugh, I'm hungry.
We're just going to let that cook for a little bit.
Okay.
Allow those flavors to,
Just kind of sweat out a little
that's
bit.
it. Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Stay tuned for more when we return to the chef's kitchen. We now return to the chef's kitchen.
Once they're about done, we're going to finish that with various different spices.
Okay.
One of which is paprika.
Nice.
Now this is a smoked paprika.
So it kind of mimics that
Yep.
smoky flavor of the bacon.
And then by putting that in the saute pan and allowing it to cook, it really lets those, makes it very aromatic and blooms that
You can
spices.
smell all those flavors coming out.
Makes it a little toasted.
It smells really good.
And then we're going to add that into the butter.
Nice. Nice.
Just dump them right in there.
Great.
We're going to start introducing a little bit of cayenne pepper.
Just a little bit of spice.
You only need a little bit. A little bit of pepper, some salt.
Now, did you start with unsalted butter?
Yes.
Okay.
And we'll throw our bacon in there. And now for the bourbon,
Oh, wow. So that really reduced down.
a little bit.
Great.
And then we'll mix that up. So at the end, we end up with our bacon bourbon butter.
Beautiful. That's going to be very delicious on top of that steak.
All right, so next we're gonna work on our steak.
So how are we going to season this?
Just salt and pepper.
So keep it really simple.
Very simple. I mean,
Okay.
we already have such a great steak here. We don't want to mess it up. So we'll do heavy seasoning on this.
Okay, because it's a thick piece of steak.
Exactly. We want to make sure that we're using fresh cracked black pepper.
Okay.
And then as well as kosher salt.
Nice. Makes a big difference to use that fresh cracked.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's it. And
So
now
we
we're
just
going
sear
to
it in
go
a hot
over
pan?
to we
Okay.
have a cast iron pan.
Do you put any oil in the pan first, or is there enough fat from the steak to
No,
render
we'll put
out?
a little bit of oil in there.
Okay.
I just want to make sure that I get it as hot as I can.
Yeah, you want it like screaming hot,
Right.
don't you? To get
Almost
that
to
nice
smoke
crust.
point.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just a little bit of oil. I love that sizzle.
I know, it's great. Makes you hungry.
It does. I'm
And-
starving right now.
We're just gonna let that sit there until we get that nice browning on the outside.
Okay. About how
Um,
long do you think that'll take?
In this particular pan, it's probably gonna take about 3 to 4 minutes,
Okay.
I would imagine. And then once we get that, we're gonna flip it, and then we're gonna finish that probably in the oven because it's such a thick cut.
Yeah. And how do you like to, I mean, I'm sure you're making them to whatever temperature the guest requests, but medium rare today?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So with this particular cut of meat, I usually like to say medium. However, with our aging process, it's such a tender cut
Yeah.
that you can actually eat it mid-rare and have absolutely no issues.
Well, you're
with
the
it being
chef,
tough.
so I'm going to let you make the best decision.
I think we're just about ready here.
Oh, nice.
That nice browning on the outside.
That looks great. Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah, we could
Nice.
go a little bit longer, but I think for the most part we're there.
Okay,
While
great.
that's searing on the other side, I think we're going to get ready for our ecoveres.
Perfect. I love these skinny little green beans.
Absolutely. So we're just going to clean up these ends right here.
All right.
You can snap them off or however you'd like to do it, just for time's sake. Just going to cut those off.
Oh,
And then we're simply just going to blanch these real quick.
okay.
And then after they're blanched, we're going to saute them with a little bit of olive oil and shallots.
Nice.
And salt and pepper.
Very
and
simple.
put it on the plate.
Perfect. How long do they blanch for?
Honestly, probably about a minute.
Okay, so
Not
they
long
cook
at
really
all.
quickly.
Yeah, they cook pretty quickly. Plus, we're going to then saute them afterwards.
Right. And do you like to keep them kind of crisp, like a little al dente?
Yeah, definitely. We
Yeah.
want a little bit of bite to them.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So I think we got a good sear on both sides now, but since it's such a thick steak, we're going to pop it in the oven until we get it up to the temperature we'd like it.
Great. How long does it usually take in the oven?
This is going to take probably around 6 minutes or so, 6 to 8 minutes, depending.
Awesome.
And then while they're cooking, we've got our haricot vert blanching. So we can take that out and then set that aside until we're ready to saute it.
Great.
Fantastic. So now that we got the steak in the oven finishing, we're going to go ahead and finish our haricot verts.
Perfect.
So we're just going to saute these. We've already blanched them, so now we're going to saute them.
So you really just need to finish them off
Just
here.
going to finish them off.
Okay.
We're going to use a little bit of olive oil.
All right.
Stay tuned for more when we return to the chef's kitchen. We now return to the chef's kitchen.
It's okay to get a little color on them.
All right. Get them kind of blistered a little bit.
Yeah, a little blistered up. That's
Nice.
fine. We're going to do just a little bit of shallot.
Okay. And that's it. You keep these super simple.
Very simple.
Love it.
A little bit of salt.
Now, do you switch up the vegetables at all, or do you pretty much stick to the classic green beans?
We do. We try to keep seasonal. We have our classics, a little bit of pepper on there as well.
Cream spinach.
Yeah, so we have sauteed spinach right now. Sometimes we'll have cream spinach. But we have our staples, but then we also change seasonally depending on what's available.
Awesome.
So that's all we're going to do with those.
So they're pretty much done.
That's it.
Great.
Next, we're going to work on the potatoes.
Got some beautiful herbs for you.
Thank you. So what we're doing as those potatoes are finishing up in the oven, I'm just going to take some fresh herbs, do a little chop on those.
Okay.
Right now, I've got rosemary and thyme.
They smell great already.
Oh,
I'm sure
yeah.
they're going to be amazing once they hit those hot potatoes.
So just want to make sure that you don't have any of the stems in the thyme or the rosemary.
Okay. You're a little too tough.
Yeah. And we're just going to do a rough chop on those.
Okay. Now, is it important to put the herbs on the potatoes after they finish cooking versus before?
Yeah, so with fresh herbs, if you were to put them on before we started cooking them, they would kind of burn.
Yeah.
You know, in the process.
They turn to nothing.
So with fresh herbs, we will want to finish with fresh herbs.
Okay.
So we'll take our potatoes out.
Beautiful.
We'll put our fresh herbs over top, give them a toss. Spoon to help. Finish with a little salt and pepper.
Very nice. And that's it.
And that's it.
Those look so crispy.
You smell the herbs.
Yeah, as soon as they hit
rosemary,
that
that
pan,
thyme.
they really open up. So everything gets served on separate plates here, right? So the steak can have its own landing
When it
plate.
comes to steaks, it does.
Yeah.
When it comes to seafood, we tend to compose some dishes. Okay, so now that we have our sides plated up, we're going to move to our steak.
Awesome.
Do you mind shutting that?
Sure.
Thank you. And we have that beautiful brown sear on the outside. Put that center of the plate.
That looks incredible. It's so juicy.
And that's it.
That's it. Now, are we
Yeah.
going to put the bacon butter on now, or do you let it rest a little bit first?
So actually, you want to, good point. You want to put that on pretty much as soon as it comes out of the oven.
Okay, so then it kind of melts
so
all
it
up
kind
in
of
there.
starts melting all
Oh,
over.
yeah. Don't be shy with that bacon bourbon
Never,
butter.
never.
This looks amazing.
And that's it.
Can't wait to taste it. This looks incredible. But before we get to tasting, our general manager, Kelly O'Hanlon, is here to mix up a little cocktail to go along with it.
Yes,
Hey,
Nicole,
Kelly.
good to see you again.
Likewise.
So I figured with this classic dish that we would make a classic cocktail
Perfect.
with our bourbon Buffalo Trace that Michael kind of talked a little bit about earlier.
In the bourbon
Yep.
bacon butter.
Absolutely. So basically, a Manhattan is just very simple. It's just a bourbon or whiskey of your choice, but we prefer bourbon here at Harry's, and sweet vermouth.
Nice.
And we also use Amarena cherries, which are Italian cherries, which are delicious, much better than the maraschino cherries.
Big time. It makes such a difference.
So let's get started.
Okay.
All right.
So is this not equal parts?
Nope.
Okay. Just a splash of the sweet vermouth and then plenty of the bourbon.
Yeah.
Now, did you go down and choose this bourbon barrel?
No, I was not lucky enough, but we have a bourbon expert who is one of our bartenders. He is fortunate enough to have picked, this is our third barrel. All 3 barrels he has some say in.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and he also hosts our bourbon dinners that we do 2 a year, featuring the high-end bourbons like Pappy and Buffalo Trace and everything. So they're
Pappy, that's a big deal.
Yes.
All right. So chef, one for you. You earned that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Cheers.
So cheers.
Thanks for having me at Harry's today.
Yes, thanks for coming.
Oh yeah, that's a nice
Delicious.
cocktail.
Yes.
I think that's going to pair great.
Oh, I know it's going to
So
pair
let's
great.
cut in.
Let's get in there.
Let's do it.
I love how that butter is just melted down all over the top.
Excellent, chef.
My mouth is watering. And look at that, it's cooked perfectly. And you can see how tender it is.
Small pieces. Small pieces.
I am gonna get right up in here. You have to have some too. Oh
Absolutely.
my gosh. I have to have another taste of this steak. It's so good.
We can't let it go to waste.
I know. Oh, this will not go to waste. Don't you guys worry about that. Well, I don't want to talk with my mouth full, so thank you guys so much for having me here at Harry's. This was such a pleasure.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, it was a great experience. I had a lot of fun. I've never really done anything quite like this before, so it was a lot of fun.